In the heart of Santa Fe, a staircase spirals towards the heavens, defying the laws of physics and challenging the boundaries of belief. Today, we unravel the mystery of the Loretto Chapel Staircase, a marvel of engineering and a testament to faith. This is Casual History. What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another podcast of Casual History. I am Jacob, your host here today, and also my co-host, as it is every week, Jeffrey.
How's it going, everyone? Thanks so much for listening to last week's episode. Really good response. Thought it was fun. So positive takeaway.
Heck yeah. So this one's actually a really, really fun one because as I was kind of diving into different stories this week, one just kind of like came from like a memory of mine. So when I turned 30, gosh, I'm saying my age on the podcast, but I have to because it's for context, Jeff. On my 30th birthday, I actually did a road trip to Vegas. And on the way there, we stopped in Santa Fe, New Mexico. And there we stayed at a small little Airbnb. It was really, really pretty. Loved the whole area. And our actual Airbnb host was kind of giving us some recommendations of stuff to do just around town and like kind of the things to see. And one of the things he mentioned was this church. And so like, I remember vaguely him like describing that. We were like, oh yeah, we should do that. We never really got to it. And the other day I was scrolling through, I obviously follow a bunch of history, Twitter profiles and different stuff like that. And I came across the story and I was like, it just clicked. Like, this was the church. And so when I kind of deep dived into the story, the more fascinated and connected I got with it. So that's kind of what my story is going to be about today. So, Jeffrey, I'm going to be testing your faith for a really interesting pun for this podcast. This story is about like a very weird thing that happened in this church. And so we can kind of dive into it if you're ready, man. Are you ready for this story?
I'm ready.
All right, so let's just get into it. So, nestled in the heart of Santa Fe, New Mexico, amidst the vibrant tapestry of the Southwestern culture and history, stands the Loretto Chapel, a structure that is shrouded in mystery as it is steeped in beauty. This 19th century Gothic revival masterpiece, with its delicate spires reaching towards the heavens, holds within its walls a story that has perplexed and fascinated onlookers for over a century. At the heart of this enigma is the staircase, a marvel of craftsmanship and design known as the Loretto Chapel Staircase. Seems pretty straightforward. The chapel itself was the vision of the Sisters of Loretto, a devout group of nuns who sought to create a sanctuary of worship and reflection. In 1873, they commissioned the French architect Antoine Molly, so I'm sure I butchered that as well, to bring their vision to life. Inspired by the iconic Saint Chapel in Paris, Molly had set out to create a chapel that would be a testament to the divine and a place where the spiritual and earthly could intertwine. So, as the construction of the chapel neared its completion, though, in 1878, a glaring oversight came to light. The choir loft that was perched 22 feet above the chapel floor was inaccessible. The space was too narrow for a conventional staircase, and the architect's untimely death led to the project to be in a state of uncertainty. The Sisters of Loretto were faced with a conundrum that seemed insurmountable. But in their time of need, what did the sisters do? They turned to their faith, Jeffrey. They embarked on a novena, 9 days of prayer and reflection, seeking intercession of Saint Joseph. That was who this church was going to be to as well, the patron saint of carpenters. So they literally prayed for 9 days for a solution to this problem. So they prayed with fervor and hope, trusting that a divine solution would present itself. And then, as if to answer their prayers, a mysterious stranger appears at the chapel's doorstep. He was a man of few words, carrying a simple toolbox and a promise to build a staircase that would connect the chapel floor to the choir loft. So that actually happened. The sisters, though, taken back by the sudden appearance, were desperate for a solution and agreed to his terms. So what do you think about that so far? A mysterious stranger just strolling up out of nowhere.
Yeah, sounds like a good start of a movie.
Heck yeah, exactly. That's what I thought too. And so I was blown away the more I read this.
I would assume during the time he strolls in on horseback, yeah?
I think it's very likely to assume that, yes. And after reading this as well and kind of doing the research, he actually walked in and prompted, hey, I heard that someone needed me to build a staircase, without even talking to the sisters first. So that's literally what happened. This guy just shows up out of nowhere after they've been praying for someone, please come build this and finish our chapel. And that guy just strolls in leisurely and literally without them saying anything, hey, I'm here to build you guys a staircase.
The nuns wouldn't have happened to have a phone, yeah?
No, they would not happen to have a phone.
A pigeon, maybe? Telegram? No. What are we talking?
They had the, Saint Joseph. That's who they had. That's who they were trying to get to come to fix their church.
So there was only 9 nuns, you said? How many nuns?
Oh no, there was a lot more nuns, but they spent 9 days praying.
Okay, I'm like 9
a
nuns. A
lot more.
9 days. Okay.
How many nuns does it take to build a staircase?
Apparently a lot, but you only need 9 days and then your prayer's answered.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
That's pretty fast turnaround, don't you think?
So you're telling me he walked in and said, I was told I need to build a staircase.
Yes. Literally, the story goes that he walked straight into the chapel with like confidence saying, hey, I heard that I needed to build a staircase.
Did he say who he heard it from?
No.
Okay.
A man, a few words, Jeffrey. Did you not pay attention to my story? A man, a few words.
I need to build a staircase.
That's how I imagine he sounded. But yeah, so like obviously like pretty insane. Also, man, that's fast turnaround time for prayers, dude. I don't know.
I'm guessing a friend of a friend, though. I'll play the skeptic. I mean, come on. You tell me the nuns have no friends in the area that they're saying, hey, our guy, we have no one to build this staircase anymore. And then the word kind of gets around. And then someone's like, I could do that. And then they walk in and say, I can build the staircase. Seems pretty straightforward. But let's keep going. What's next?
Jeffrey, have a little faith, my man. Have a little faith. That's what this story's all about. So I'm here to test that for you, okay? So just wait and listen to the full story because it's going to get a little bit wilder too. So obviously, if that isn't crazy enough, guy walks in, he's ready to build this staircase. So obviously the sisters, though taken back by a sudden appearance, they were desperate for a solution. They agreed to his terms. The carpenter set to work, and over the course of several weeks, the chapel became a workshop filled with the sounds of sawing and hammering. The sisters watched in awe as the staircase began to take shape, a spiral of wood that seemed to defy the laws of physics, with no visible means of support at all. The staircase is made of 2 complete 360-degree turns, a feat of engineering that left onlookers baffled. So there was literally no structure holding that up. It was just a floating spiral staircase.
Yeah, I'm looking at the photo right now.
It's pretty insane. And that photo, too, that you're probably looking at is not the original. They have added on top of it over time. They've added the railings. There used to be not any railings whatsoever. But we're going to kind of get into kind of the mysteries around how it was built and what like modern day people who've looked at it say about it as well. So that is definitely something we're going to touch on.
So do we get a name of this guy?
No, there's no name.
Really?
They had never got his name. Nope.
That's so okay. Interesting.
Right. Right. And so the sisters watched in awe as they built it. But as quickly as the man appeared, the mysterious carpenter vanished, leaving behind his creation and a story that would captivate the world. The sisters of Loretto were left with a staircase that seemed to be a miracle, a divine answer to their prayers. But as the news of the staircase spread, so did the questions and the theories. Who was this mysterious carpenter? How had he achieved such a feat of engineering? And what secrets did this staircase hold? As we delve deeper into the story, we will explore the construction of the staircase, the identity of the mysterious carpenter, and the legacy of the Loretto Chapel Staircase has left behind. So that's really my setup for this story. Jeffrey, are you in or are you in?
I'm in. I am just confused, and I want to know what's going on. So
that's right.
I'm ready for the next part.
Well, yes, that's right. I spent my this entire week's podcast is on stairs, so it's bound to be exciting. So, as the final echoes of the sisters' prayers faded away, Loretto Chapel found itself in the center of a mystery that would captivate the world for generations to come. The appearance of an enigmatic carpenter marked the beginning of a new chapter in the chapel's history, one shrouded with intrigue and wonder. With nothing more than a toolbox and quiet determination, Carpenter is set to work, right? His actions shrouded in silence. We've already kind of gone through, obviously, that like it was very mysterious, a man who did not speak very much, but he built this magnificent staircase. It was actually considered a marvel of engineering, with the two complete 360-degree turns and no visible means of support. The staircase seemed to float in midair. So as the staircase neared completion, the carpenter's presence became more elusive, and he worked in solitude. There are no records of his agreement with the sister, no traces of his origins either. He was a man out of time, a craftsman whose skills seemed to transcend the area, right? And then all of a sudden, he just vanishes into thin air. The staircase stood complete, a testament to his skill and dedication. But the man himself was gone, leaving behind a legacy that would soon become the subject of speculation for years to come. The sisters of Loretto were left with a staircase that was as much a work of art as it was a feat of engineering. They believed that their prayers had been answered and that the carpenter was a divine messenger sent to aid them in their time of need. But the mystery of his identity and the secrets of his craft were the questions that would remain unanswered. As the news of the staircase spread, so did the theories and speculations. Some believed that the carpenter was Saint Joseph himself, while others whispered of angels and divine intervention. The staircase had become a symbol of faith and mystery and a manifestation of the divine. But the story of the staircase was far from over. The mystery of its construction, the identity of its builder, and the secrets that were held yet to be unraveled. The identity of the carpenter, the methods he used, and the origins of the materials all remained a mystery. Determined to honor the man who had answered their prayers, the sisters, after that person had left, they tried to embark on a quest to actually find out who the carpenter was and offer him payment for his work. So what they decided to do first was actually visit the local vendors and like lumber yards and carpentry shops, right? Because obviously he had to get his tools from somewhere. He had to get the wood from somewhere. But this is where things get a little bit creepier. So as they did, and they started inquiring around, everybody was met with puzzled looks and shaking heads. No one had seen the carpenter, and there were no records of him purchasing materials or supplies. So just magically out of thin air, Jeffrey, apparently this person had all the wood and all the stuff that he needed to build this staircase. What do you think about that?
He chops his own wood.
You think he just chops his own wood out there? I mean, that would take a lot longer.
It would take a lot longer. It would be free though, so maybe that's part of it too. If he's not getting paid, maybe he's not getting. Listen, I'm not here to dispel your disbelief or your belief in this. But my thought goes, maybe the man's just out there chopping wood every day, and it would that doesn't leave him with
very much energy to build a staircase, Jeffrey, that would be not supported by any beams. You know,
I mean, you put some nails and some wood. You know.
Oh, there's no nails.
Bit,
Jeffrey, there were no nails in the construction.
I'm sorry. Put the wood through the wood, and you put some wood blocks in there, and bada bing, you got a staircase. I can make you a staircase. You want a staircase? I can make you a staircase.
Come on. You build me a staircase while chopping wood and building it all on your lonesome, and you tell me that would take you longer than just a couple of weeks.
I would say a good month, maybe.
Really? You chopping your own wood? I would pay to see to see that.
No, he definitely, obviously, this man came in with skill already in hand. And okay, before I go further, are you trying to tell me you think that this is a divine man person
I'm not
spirit
trying
that
to
came in and did that? Or
reach out and
what do you
touch faith,
believe?
Jeff. Reach
What
out
do
and
you
touch
believe?
faith.
Because it had to be a physical being, right?
Yeah.
In the story of Christianity, even,
Right.
Jesus was a man, right? So if they were divine, they had to be a man of flesh. So either way, this man was a man. And
Right. But was
I
the
don't
man
think he's
sent
just
with a
manifesting
mission?
wood.
Or
Like, you know what I mean? Like,
a man manifesting wood? I'm just going to leave that there. I
don't think he's got to be chopping it. He's got to be buying it, something. So if no one around, maybe he liked his wood from two towns away, There's got to be an answer.
There's
That's
too
all I'm
many
trying to
bad
say.
clips out of this podcast already. But okay, maybe the person was a man, but like you telling me he did get sent with a mission from someone else? That could still be considered divine, Jeffrey. There's lots of different scenarios where this could still be considered divine.
Sure. But the man built the staircase, and you're saying no one in the area sold him wood.
Yeah, or met him at all. No one knew his name, saw him, nowhere.
Maybe these guys don't have good face recognition.
Maybe. I mean, I don't know. Maybe the guy walked around with the hood all the time and, no one ever saw his face. But still, pretty interesting coincidence. And there's some other things, too, that leads, again, to things to get a little bit crazier as we go on. So you actually kind of pinpointed it a little bit. But as we've gone through this as well, there was a revelation later where they were looking to find out how the carpenter had acquired the wood for the staircase. The spruce wood, with its fine grain and warm hue, was not native to the arid landscapes of New Mexico, so not in the state at all, Jeffrey. So a few towns over would have been fine. You would have had the same type of wood.
So he trolleyed in with wood in a big old trolley. I don't know.
From where, Jeffrey? Where did this man come from?
Where did the wood come from? That's the question.
That's a good question. So it adds another layer to the story. So it wasn't until the 1980s that a wood scientist, how would you like to tell your parents that you're going to school for to be a wood scientist?
But very valuable. We need them in our world.
Yes, it is. You're right. How dare I? But the man was named George Frank. So he would shed light on the origins of the staircase's materials. Commissioned by the Sisters of Loretto to study the staircase and its construction, Frank took samples of the wood and had them analyzed in a laboratory, and the results were startling. The wood was spruce, most likely sourced from Colorado or Wyoming. So this discovery raised more questions than it answered. How had the carpenter acquired wood from over 1,000 miles away, and why had he chosen this particular type of wood for the staircase? The sisters in the local community were left to ponder these questions as the staircase's origins remained as elusive as ever. The revelation of the staircase's non-local wood only added to its mystique and allure. Some speculated that the Sisters of Loretto had brought the wood with them from their previous missions, while others believed that it had been donated by a generous benefactor. But there were also those who saw the hand of the divine in the staircase's construction, believing that the wood had been miraculously provided by Saint Joseph himself. So there are lots of options here, Jeffrey. For you.
You give people wood from 2 states away, and they're claiming that it's
1,000 miles. You can't tell me that that's not wild.
Yeah, it is. It is crazy to think that obviously it had to be brought there,
right?
But that's all I want to keep saying is, but there's lots of ways that this could happen. Here's a theory.
Yeah.
Antoine, the original builder, sent out word when he got commissioned, hey, bring your best wood. This dude's a carpenter from Wyoming.
Bring your best wood, people.
I need help building the staircase, okay? He sends a telegraph to pigeon, whatever you used back then. And so by the time Antoine can't do it, I can't remember why, he shows
died?
up. He died, that's right. By the time, hey, listen to my theory. By the time Antoine shows up, this guy recognizes he's obviously found out on his 1,000-mile journey. It's going to take him a bit that Antoine's dead, but he goes, you know what? I can do this. I'm going to build it anyway. And he built it himself. Maybe this was Antoine's friend or wood supplier in Wyoming, and he knew he needed the wood, and he commissioned it. He sent out word before he died, and then he showed up and built the staircase anyway in his honor. That's
that
my
poor
theory.
pigeon had to fly 1,000 miles, Jeffrey.
I don't know how pigeons work, man. Like telegraph, right? We're at the telegraph time. What time period is this? 1870?
Yeah. So we're in the 1870s, I believe. Yes, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, man.
1873.
Yeah, we totally got telegraph. That's like 40 years after telegraph was invented, man. So we're within the telegraph zone. Okay, we got railroads happening.
Why not commission a person locally? Why have to go to that trouble anyway and have a person travel 1,000 miles to build a staircase?
You mean if you're Antoine and you ask for help in my theory?
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Let's pretend like your theory is
because this man's
great.
got the best wood, and we're building something holy. You know, we're not taking our cheap way out and building something from the local wood.
Screw wood. That.
We're bringing in the spruce, man, from Colorado and Wyoming.
There's literally a lumber yard in the town, Jeffrey. Why would you?
Maybe it's poor lumber, Jake. You know, I'm no wood scientist. Maybe they don't like the wood.
Yeah, maybe they don't like the wood. You're right. You're right. But it's, again, you can't admit that there isn't something intriguing about those details, though.
Yeah, there is.
Which makes it fun, which is why this story called to me of I'm not saying that I fully believe that St. Joseph himself floated down and hey, I'm here to build stairs for you guys. But still, it is very intriguing once you start whittling down the options. And it gets weirder still as we go on. There's lots of different theories as well as little details that are just very hard to kind of pinpoint why that's the case, even with modern research now. And so that's where it's going to get really fun. So actually, in my research too, even modern day engineers have taken a look at this staircase, and they still to this day don't know how it was built. It didn't have any railings around it. It was just a straight up spiral, and the wood, they said, was almost it was bouncy. When you got on it, it was very spring loaded, where it was easily able to carry you up. And so sounds like spruce. So I know my yeah. And so but that was kind of what blew my mind, was okay, right, 1800s, you see a cool staircase for the first time, maybe some guy with techniques from outside, obviously really far away, came strolling into town, saw a need, and just kind of came in there, right? Let's be the skeptic. But to have modern day engineers and architects look at this stuff and go, wait a minute, we don't know how this was built. And they still, to this day, Jeffrey, 2023, they do not know how this staircase was built.
Obviously, he used wood. So I don't know what the question is.
Yes,
Jake.
but without supports.
How he built it up from the ground?
Yes, how it stays together, how it's constructed, and how it's able to withstand people climbing up it and actually going up those stairs without anything supporting it.
I mean, fair. Okay, fair. That's pretty right. Crazy. Yeah.
So the staircase had actually become a symbol in Santa Fe, a landmark that drew visitors from all around the world. So see, now I wish I would have went while we were there. Because this is really fascinating, and paid money to see a miracle, Jeffrey.
It's funny how miracles always seem to be the most profitable. You know what I mean? Can I just put that out there real quick?
This is what happens when we have a late pod together, Jeffrey. I love this, actually. I love the back and forth.
I just find it interesting. You know, I mean, I'm a sucker for it too. When I was over in Lisbon and we went over to Spain, the churches, the cathedrals, that's all I wanted to go see because they were beautiful. They're beautifully built and they're a wonder to look at. I just find it funny that they always have a cost.
Yeah, but are those miracles, Jeffrey? It would take a miracle to build those chapels?
Some would say, Jake.
Yeah, you're right. Some would probably say.
But what's the theory? So we think, outside of a mystical man coming down and building the staircase, we have a solid lead here. I think you're about to jump into.
Yes, I am. So I don't know how about solid, but there's some really interesting coincidences with the actual staircase itself that lends itself to really a bunch of different crazy stories. And so One of those that I knew, like it came up in a research that I did, was the Freemasons. And so I knew immediately that would perk your ears up, Jeffrey, because have we had a Freemason pod yet? Because I feel like that's overdue for you.
We have.
Okay,
it was like back in like episode 20 or something. We had a piece of one. Oh no, did we? I even forget. I think we might have touched on it. I've never done a free.
We've definitely brought
dive.
up the Freemasons, but I don't think we've had an entire podcast on like what they are, the background behind them either. But
yeah,
I knew that as soon as I saw this mentioned as like, hey, what are some crazy theories for this outside of, hey, an angel sent this man to come build them a staircase. And so one of them that was, again, these are totally like speculation at this point. But the Freemasons, a fraternal organization with deep historical roots, are known for their intricate use of symbols and rituals, many of which find their origins in the practice of medieval stonemasons. It is within this rich tapestry of symbolism that some believe the key to unraveling the mysteries of the Loretto Chapel Staircase. The staircase itself, with its graceful spiral design, is seen as a nod to Masonic symbolism, representing the journey of the soul in pursuit of enlightenment. This design choice, whether intentional or coincidental, has fueled speculation about the carpenter's possible connections to the Freemasons, adding an intriguing layer to an already captivating story. Adding to the mystery is a number of steps in the staircase, Jeffrey. So with that, there are 33 total steps. That not only reflects the highest degree within the Scottish rite of Freemasonry, but also mirrors the age at which Jesus Christ is believed to have been crucified. So again, there's a lot of weird coincidences that could be tied to this as well. This dual symbolism has led some to ponder the deeper meaning behind the staircase's design, questioning whether the carpenter was embedding layers of significance into his work. The time period in which the staircase was constructed further adds to the speculation. The late 19th century saw a resurgence in the popularity of Freemasonry, with lodges established across the United States. It is conceivable that the carpenter, whether a local craftsman or a traveler passing through... Want to make a podcast? Spotify's got the platform that allows you to make one super easily, then distribute it everywhere and even earn money. All in one place for free. It's called Spotify for Podcasters, and here's how it works. Spotify for Podcasters allows you to record and edit podcasts right from your phone or computer. So no matter what your setup is like, you can start creating today. And then you can distribute your podcast to Spotify and everywhere else that podcasts are heard. Video podcasts are also available on Spotify, and with Spotify Podcasters, you can earn money in a variety of ways, including ads and podcast subscriptions. Best of all, it's totally free with no catch. Ever since I discovered Spotify for Podcasters, I feel like having options like video podcasts and question and answer polls has allowed me to be creative on a whole nother level. I highly recommend that you give it a try. Download the Spotify for Podcasters app or go to www.spotify.com/podcasters to get started. The Santa Fe area could have been a member of this influential fraternity, leaving behind a silent signature of his beliefs and affiliations. Critics of the Freemason theory argue that the connections are circumstantial, pointing out the lack of concrete evidence to confirm the carpenter's affiliation with the organization. The anonymity of the carpenter and the absence of documentation have left this theory in a realm of speculation. So again, there's lots of really weird theories like that too. But I found that really interesting that there were, again, like it was connected to the number 33 and that both of those were reflected in it. So that's another main theory that people have had as well.
Gotta hand it to them. They have their hand in a lot of projects.
They sure did. They sure did, man. They sure did. And so whether they had a hand in building this staircase or not, it is still like apparently like a really hot spot for people to go visit anytime they're in the Santa Fe area. So I recommend that you don't do as I do. And if you guys are in that area, go check it out for me. please tell me and tell Jeffrey how amazing and how this is a miracle and not the act of some lone person who was called from states away.
Got his word from Wyoming, you know?
Yeah. From good old Colorado. He just brought it on down.
I wonder how many people were living in Wyoming. We should look that up.
Yeah.
And Colorado at this time, 1875?
Yes. So right around then. So like I can see, right.
That'd be interesting to look up how many people were living.
Right. So around 1878 is where you're going to want to be looking at.
So around 9,000 people
That's
in the territory of Wyoming, which is pretty crazy.
That is crazy.
Colorado, we have, I think it was actually pretty big. Colorado. Oh no, never mind. From 1870, it grew from 4,700 to 106,000 by 1890. So maybe we're at the 40,000 mark at this point in time.
Okay, that's a little bit more believable then. I mean, that's quite a bit of people for that time, I think, in that area. So that's interesting. But yeah, like, first of all, I want to know, like, where did he learn these skills that still to this day, engineers have actually gone and like studied this thing and still don't know how it was built. Like,
yeah, that is really interesting.
Yeah,
it'd be interesting to hear if here's the thing: you build this thing, you don't leave anything behind. Maybe I wonder if let's say it wouldn't do this, but you took it apart, would you find a signature or some marking of the artist or maybe it's completely selfless, and that's the whole idea of being in service. And obviously at that time you're doing something holy and ritualistic and you're building something with a purpose. Maybe you don't do that, but everyone's going to wonder who, I guess, at the end of the day. So I do think it's really interesting. I do think it's really beautiful when looking at the photos. Do I think it's a mystical man from the sky that came down to do it? No. Do I think it was a really skilled person? Yes.
Right. And where did that skilled person come from? I'm kind of at the same conclusion as you, funny enough. I feel like for sure some person was a really skilled worker, whether they strolled in the town and saw a need or just, like, I don't know, some other crazy situation like you named where they got called before the person died. Like something
That's a pretty
happened.
Good theory, right? I mean,
it's not bad. I came
up with it off the dome and it kind of sticks. I'm not going to lie, but maybe there would be records of Antoine's telegram, but maybe we should do. We're not going to find that.
Yeah, I don't know how you'd find that. I was about to bring up the same thing too. It's like, first of all, why would you disappear after doing that and not? I guess they were going to end up paying him, but the guy just skips town without ever hearing from him again. I've always like that's also kind of intriguing, but again, you kind of hit on that point too. Maybe it was very much like a hey, I'm building something holy, like I'm not going to ask for anything for it, and just like I'm going to do this thing and skip.
Dude, Catholicism like is no joke. Like Christianity, when you're, I'm sure, like of being in service,
right?
You're a builder, you're a carpenter. This man obviously was a carpenter. He's building inside the church that I'm sure he knew the name of or what it was obviously being built for when it's about Saint Joseph, who is carpentry. Like, I would assume that the man who came in and did this felt called to do it regardless and did it obviously with skill. So
yeah,
it's just interesting. It would be interesting to find out the identity, but
yeah, maybe literally it was that simple. They just like ran into a streak of luck where a man who's traveling from, another state comes into town, sees a chapel dedicated to carpentry. He's a carpenter. He comes in, sees that there's no staircase, offers to build it for them, and then just skips town. Like maybe that is the real reason, but I still think it's very interesting. Like, again, I'm always fascinated by people who in the past have built skills where like today that is still into question, like how something was done. Like I would suspect, like reading this and doing the research, my first thought was like, we're going to find out immediately, like now modern times, how this thing was built. And it was probably some ingenious way, but for the time, maybe it just looked like a miracle. But the fact that we still don't know is what still keeps this in awe. And it is a beautiful staircase. I can't wait to post a picture for you guys so that way you guys can get some context, because it is pretty amazing to look at. And so in the modern times, though, they did end up building the railings on top of it. Beforehand, there was no railings as well. They've done some like refurbishment to the outside, but like other than that, it is held up. So that is still like the original like staircase itself all the way up.
If you've listened this far, please give us a like. Please give us a review. Check us out on social media, Casual X History. We're now going to jump into our reoccurring segment where we have some fun, and you're going to join us if you want to.
All right, let's do it.
Welcome back, brave time travelers, to Time Traveler Trivia. I'm Leo, your ethereal guide. Are you ready for a challenge that transcends the ages? Here's how our game works. In each round, I will regale you with 3 tales from the vast corridors of time. These tales will be strange, bewildering, and sometimes downright wacky. But here's the twist. Only one of these stories is a true piece of historical lore, while the others are clever fabrications from my ghostly imagination. Your task, to use your knowledge, intuition, and perhaps a bit of luck to discern the real historical event from the phantasmal fiction.
All right, so we're back again. I am on a winning streak, Jeffrey, so you're really going to have to step up your game this week for this.
Yeah, it ends today.
Okay. All right. I like the confidence. All right. You ready for round 1? Let's jump into it.
The London beer flood. Imagine a tidal wave, but instead of water, it's beer. In 1814, did a brewery in London experience a catastrophic vat burst, flooding the streets with beer, damaging homes and even claiming lives? The Great Boston Fire of 1872. Was there a time when Boston's downtown was engulfed in flames, and amidst the chaos, did the locals indulge in a chaotic beer fest from the remnants of ruined breweries? The year without a summer. In 1816, did volcanic eruptions lead to a global drop in temperatures, resulting in crop failures and a year-long chill? Which of these historical hiccups is true?
I have thoughts off the bat. I know that the second one is not real. I think that it smells fishy to me.
Yeah, doesn't.
The third one being the worst, the year without a summer. I don't think it's the right year though, but I have in my brain, there's this video I watched on YouTube, which was called The Worst Year.
Dang it, Jeffrey.
Ever. And it was not that year. But it feels off to me. I don't remember what year it was, but where it went down the line, because it was in comparison to at the time when I watched it, it was during COVID, and it was like, you think this year is bad? Look at this year in 18, whatever the hell, I don't remember what it is. And it went down all these lists of horrible things that happened, like famine and anyway, but I don't believe in that world there was a volcanic eruption either. So like there's 2 missing pieces for me that lead me to believe the beer exploding in London, the first one in London, is the right one. Wow. And so that's my logic. You can refute it, or do you believe me?
Yeah, no, I had watched the exact same video, probably around the same time as you. So that's why that immediately triggered for me. And again, I don't know the answers either. I can't help but like, because that is familiar to me, I feel like I need to go with it. I feel like my gut is saying to do it. Year? I'm thinking that it is true. I do remember there being like a year where, things were like cloudy and the sun was not out. And I believe it was in context to that video, the same kind of video where it was like, oh yeah, right. Exactly. Like, oh, you think 2020 is bad for everything? Like, check out, this is the worst year in history. It was like a video on the worst year. I don't think
it was 1817. That's what Leo said, right? 1817 is what he said.
I'll have to check it right here.
But if regardless, I already picked my answer. I'm going with A. So
1814.
Yeah, no, that's not right in my brain. But Jacob, you want to go for it?
Yeah, 1816.
That's closer than what I had in my brain. I thought it was 1819.
Yeah, I'm going with the year without a summer. I got to.
Okay,
just because I heard it familiar. Yeah, dude, if people died from beer flooding the streets, I'm going to be blown away. All right.
I'll tell
so
you
you
something
ready?
after we find out I'm right.
Okay. And the true story is, drum roll, the London beer flood.
Let's go.
In 1814, a large beer vat at a brewery in London did indeed burst, causing a tidal wave of beer to flood the streets.
Yeah.
This tragic event resulted in the loss of lives and significant property damage.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, tell me how you knew this. Go ahead.
No, I've read this story on Twitter. It was one of those historical posts.
Did you really? So you already knew?
Because I ran, and I kind of gave it to you.
Trail.
I just didn't want to be so adamant and give you, hey, I know this for a fact vibes, because I wanted you to pick your own answer. But yeah, because I run our Twitter, Casual X History, and I follow a few different historical posting accounts similar to how we post, fun facts and history. I saw that one, the beer flood, and so.
Dang.
Yeah, I knew it was real.
after this, I'm gonna have to do actually look that back up on what was the worst year in history and find out when that actually happened.
1819, or maybe it's way off. Maybe it's not in the 1800s. But let's jump into the next one, and maybe before it ends, I'll find out the answer, what year that was.
All right, let's do it.
Timur the Lame. Was there a 14th century conqueror who, despite having a damaged leg and arm, built a vast empire stretching from India to Turkey and became known as one of history's most formidable military minds? Emperor Norton wore a mud. In the heart of San Francisco in the 19th century, did a man boldly declare himself Emperor of the United States and Protector of Mexico, winning the hearts of locals and even establishing his own currency? Princess Caribou. Did a woman in the early 19th century manage to convince an entire British town that she was an exotic princess from a distant land, only to later be revealed as a local named Mary Baker? Which of these larger-than-life characters is not just a figment of my ghostly imagination?
Just want to say off the bat about the year that we were saying was the worst to be alive. We are so fucking off.
Really? How off we talking?
536. That's the video we both watched.
536?
536.
Oh my.
Is the year it was referencing. Not even in the 1800s, and we were like,
I wasn't going off the year. I just
that's so funny.
Wow.
I feel like an idiot, but that's okay.
It's all right. This is why we're here. This is why we have Casual History, Jeffrey. So we learn things, okay? We've learned something today.
Yeah.
That's right.
Okay, so but putting my focus on these answers, I'm not gonna lie, because I was looking that up, I did not catch the first one at all.
Okay.
All I heard was Princess Caribou and an emperor who was claiming he was the protector or something,
right,
and established his own currency in San Francisco.
So, Timur the Lame was the 14th century conqueror who, despite having a damaged leg and arm, built a vast empire stretching from India to Turkey and became known as one of history's most formidable military minds. That was the first one.
Okay.
And the second one was Emperor Norton the First. Yes, and you're right. In the heart of San Francisco, in the 19th century, did a man boldly declare himself the Emperor of the United States and Protector of Mexico, winning the hearts of the locals and even establishing his own currency.
Pretty ballsy, and I think I got the last
pretty
one,
ballsy.
Princess Caribou.
Right.
Yeah. Any thoughts? I went first with my reasoning the first time. So give me the thought out manner. What do you got?
Sure.
Who do you?
We're learning you shouldn't go off of my gut instinct, because apparently I'm gonna be off. But so Timur the Lame sounds like something very, very plausible, right, to me in my head.
Pretty straightforward for Leo. Leo likes to play games, though.
He does, I know, and so like that's why that one like kind of gives me the like I'm not sure. The second one is interesting. Like, to be quite honest with you, none of these are ringing a bell at all as far as like something that I've read, anything that I'm having like a gut of like, oh yeah, I may have heard something like that. So that's why I'm pretty much guessing in the dark with you, if that's your take as well. So you tell me what you're thinking.
I'm thinking the first one seems the most
too obvious,
but knowing that these are wacky and kind of offbeat stories typically that we're choosing from, Caribou is kind of funny.
Yeah, it is kind of funny. I like that.
the San Francisco seems real enough. Like, again, I'm like, yeah, who wouldn't? That's kind of a ballsy play, though. I don't know. I don't know any of these stories, so I'm also going to be guessing. But I think I have what I want to put my money on. Do you?
Yeah, I think I do. So, do you want me to answer first this time?
Sure.
Okay, I'm just gonna take a wild dartboard throw right now to Emperor Norton the First. I'm going with story number 2.
I thought it was ballsy. I'm like, I like it. So
yeah,
go.
Me too. So are you ready for this? Let's figure out if
I think it's probably going to be
both
the caribou one, just because it seems the most weird. Like out of the 3, the caribou seems the most. Well, I mean, claiming to be emperor is no like normal thing to do, but I don't know, for some reason about conquering and like the first one, I'm like, okay, these two kind of ring the same bell. But
all right, Jeffrey,
we shall see. Leo, give it to us.
The true story is Emperor Norton the First. Joshua Norton, living in San Francisco in the mid-19th century, proclaimed himself the Emperor of the United States and the Protector of Mexico. He was a beloved local figure, and businesses even accepted his self-made currency. What a boss, first of all.
That just sounds nice. And we both guessed, so yes, we got one.
That's right.
We hit that 33.3% chance of being right.
That's right. We did.
I'm not gonna lie, I don't feel proud about that one because none of us had an inkling of what was going on. So it kind of feels like a wash. I'm ready to go on to the next one. Leo, give it to us.
Mummy unwrapping parties. In the 19th century, did the European elite really throw lavish parties where the main event was unwrapping ancient Egyptian mummies, often damaging these precious artifacts in the process? The oracle bones of Shang dynasty. In ancient China, did people use turtle shells and animal bones for divination, interpreting the patterns of cracks formed from heating them as messages from ancestors or gods? The great plant hysteria. In the 18th century, did a scientific paper lead people to believe that plants could feel emotions and communicate, causing widespread panic and leading some to remove certain plants from their homes? Time to decide which of these historical happenings actually happened.
Okay.
Wow.
I like just off the top. I have an inkling about one of them.
Okay. Yeah, me too.
Because I've seen something, but there's one that's pulling me in a different direction. The one that's pulling me in a different direction is the turtle bones in Shanghai.
Yeah.
Because I think
it says turtle shells and animal bones.
Okay. So then, that might be the one, because I'm pretty sure they used different kind of bone.
Right. I know 1 and 2
bone
are incredibly plausible to me in a weird way.
Yeah. And I'm being pulled. So
I'm being pulled towards number 1. The mummy unwrapping parties. I feel like I've heard this in some weird world. Is it
completely real? It's completely real.
So you already know this?
Yeah, but
you're trying to trick me?
But it could be the second one could be real too, right?
Yeah.
We could have 2 true ones. Does he do that? Does Leo do that?
No. There's only 1 true one.
Well, the thing is with the bone thing, and this is one of those weird connections in my brain, but I'm pretty sure they used to do that, but it used to be with like cows or ox or whatever it was. Not turtle, but it says turtle and animal. So I'm like,
right.
Okay, so that falls within that range.
It seems like, I don't know why it seems so like plausible. Number 2 as well. And so that's very, very interesting because I immediately after hearing it, I was like, yeah, the mummy unwrapping parties, just because I know human history is filled with honestly the elite doing terrible things that they shouldn't be doing, I feel like I've heard that somewhere, and so that's where, obviously, I think that's where my vote's going. But the second one is still just as intriguing to me, so I'm very interested to see. Maybe I'm totally wrong here, and maybe that
you're going one. I don't like that.
I'm going one.
You shouldn't go number 1 because I also want to go number 1.
Well, you should choose differently so that way we can have a winner.
I don't want to. I want to do. If we're both right, then I am the winner, Jacob.
Well, then you should definitely go somewhere else.
I know that the mummy unwrapping party is real.
I think you're onto something with this Oracle Bones thing. I feel like
I'm
not
sorry.
to like.
Are you playing reverse mind trick and trying to get me to go number one and it's
Jedi
really
mind
number
tricks
two?
right now. This is not the answer you're looking for.
I'm going for A. Sorry if I'm wrong. I could
All
say
right.
I kind of knew it because of the.
Okay, well, I have to stick to my guns on this one because I have done this in the past and it has burned me on these games. So whether obviously I will lose either way if we're correct and I'm correct.
Wait.
What?
I kind of want to go B.
Well, then go B. Watch this totally be a wash, and I'm leading you to the right answer. This would be very Jacob of me to do this.
Screw it. I'll go B.
Okay. All right.
The turtle, it seems so right, but maybe
Jeffrey,
I'm
is this
okay.
your final answer?
Yeah, B.
All right. Let's check out the last story. Oh my God.
What? Give it to me.
Oh my. The Oracle Bones of Shang Dynasty. In ancient China during the Shang Dynasty, Oracle Bones were indeed used for divination. Can't even speak today. Purposes.
Divination.
Yes. Yeah, I'm totally going to butcher that. But yes, you did a better job than I did. Questions were inscribed on turtle shells or animal bones, and then they were heated until they cracked. The patterns of the cracks were interpreted as messages from ancestors or gods.
Let's go.
I can't believe.
I feel like the mummy wrapping thing is real, though.
Yeah, I feel like I've heard that. That is blowing my mind. Okay, so before we go and we end this, let's please look this up.
I won either way. That's the thing, Jake. So this is for your pride. Hope you know that.
Yeah, like literally you guys are along the ride with me because I am Googling this right now. Mummy unwrapping parties. Maybe they got me on a technicality. Maybe it was like the wrong time frame.
I mean, wait, potentially.
By the 19th century, people were no longer consuming mummies to cure illnesses, but Victorians were hosting unwrapping parties.
Victorians. What did Leo say? What was the question?
Let me check.
But
here
also,
the exact.
But also, Jacob, you know that this does not change the outcome.
I know, but this is pride on the line right now.
There's no pride.
I have heard this.
You lost.
It just says the European elite.
Okay.
So are you telling? Is that right? Did that happen? Oh my gosh! I need to know.
I think we'll just have to go with. It's probably right. It probably did happen because it sounds like it did. I also, for some reason, I'm pretty sure I've heard that. That's real. That happened.
Oh,
so
it's saying yes. That is real. So are you telling me there was 2 real ones in here?
Wow. So we couldn't have been wrong either way.
Wow. So we both had the right answers. You know what? Somehow that's better for me. Somehow that makes me feel a little bit better. I'm going to sleep better tonight, Jeffrey, just for that last little ending.
I mean, I broke your two podcast win streak, so
you did you're
feeling pretty good. Well, thanks everyone for listening. Check us out again, Casual X History. We post every week. If you've made it this far, you already know all this. Can't believe I'm repeating myself, but we'll see you next week, everyone.
All right, see you next week, everybody.